Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got more of a philosophical, ranty, talky sort of piece for you guys, but I'd love to hear your feedback down in the comments below here. But anyways, for a while now, I've been feeling a little bit of a malaise in the knife market. There's been something bothering me, and I don't quite know what it is. I've touched on it before, talking about how I'm going to focus my efforts on, better quality and such like that, but it's been bothering me, and it's never quite crystallized. I've been trying to put it in words, but I was chatting with a couple of reviewers here today. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to speak for them, but a couple of us mentioned that we were all feeling a little bit ill at ease with the current state of the knife market. One of them, who I did ask to use his name, Levon from Knife Nuts, actually summed up this malaise I've been feeling just brilliantly by asking one simple question, and that is, why? Because nobody seems to be asking right now why they are releasing something new. Every day, at least on Instagram, it seems like 2 or 3 new knives are being released. From all the various companies out there, and I follow most of them. It's just like every day, there's something brand new. And it's each time they're anticipating a big splash. It's like, whoa, oh my God, look at this. And sometimes, some companies are feels like they're releasing something new every week, and that's kind of ridiculous. We Knives, I'm looking at you there. But anyways, the problem is that by and large, of these 2 or 3 releases a day, none of them really seemed like they needed to exist. Now, let me back up here. You're welcome, Knifemakers, you're welcome to run your business as you see fit. You might want to fill out your product line. Maybe you've got a unique artistic vision that personally compelled you to do something new here. But increasingly, I'm feeling like that for 99% of people in the world, pocket knife is kind of a solved problem. Somewhere already exists among the many amazing knives that have been released in the last 50 to 100 years. There is a near-perfect knife for you. And I think any knife geek can kind of rattle off some of the most common options. Maybe it's the Rat 1, maybe it's the Shabazz, the PM2, the Delica, the Benchmade 940, the Spidey Chef. There is a good chance that among all of the, and plenty more, that's not an exhaustive list, but among the well-established gems in the community, there is a pretty damn good chance that one of them is going to be perfect for you, or close enough that you can probably stop looking. Any further improvements are going to be relatively small. Maybe if you've got more specific needs, you might need a more specific knife. If you're constantly in dirt and such, you might want to hawk mud. If you're constantly in salt water, you might want a Spyderco Caribbean. If you need something super hard use, maybe a Benchmade Adamas. You want something high-end in a small blade area, maybe a Busker, whatever, Spyderco Rhodey for trap. But the thing is, by and large, the right knife is already out there for you. You can't stick to one brand. It's not the case that Spyderco has the right knife for everybody, or Benchmade. No, you have to look all around, and it may not be available in your area, and that sucks. But the thing is, it's out there. There might be slight improvements for you, but it's going to be a tiny tweak, a tiny improvement, rather than something entirely new, addressing a whole new need. And the fact is that with like 50 years of incredible modern knife making behind us, the bar has gotten really, really high. Because this isn't like sports or something. The old champs don't retire. It's not the case that you can be the best boxer in the world because Ali is no longer, well, I think alive. But still, it's not the case that the old guys are going away. In many cases, they've just been iterating and improving. The Delica's been iterating damn near as long as I've been alive. And so, seriously, when the market is this competitive, it feels like you really need to bring your A game. It's no longer good enough to just be excellent, because lots of people are avoiding stupid knife-killing flaws like the ones on my knife checklist. Some people are a lot of people are selling knives with just a perfect freaking action, because a lot of factories are getting really good at delivering them. A lot of people are selling amazing designs that are really attractive and really well done. A lot of people are delivering great steel at reasonable prices. Lots of people have great stories, these kinds of great marketing. Well, we're a family-owned business from, Namibia, and we, came across the border with only a knife-grinding stone in my, whatever. And lots of good people have really good stories and good social media presence. That's not enough. And lots of people are able these days to partner with great factories to deliver something that's got amazing value. value. All of those things are great. All of those things are things you're going to need to work towards doing right. But just doing those things, just having a perfect action, just having an amazing design, just having no flaws in it is not quite enough to make you stand out from the crowd these days. It's more and more the case that we need a why. And so I admit that because of this, I end up feeling frustrated and jaded with the knife market, because so often it feels like people aren't asking why. It just feels like somebody releases a new knife and I look at it, it's like, hey, come do worse over here. Why would I buy your $500 S35 VN frame lock already when there are already 10 of them that are better? Why would I pay for a fledgling knife with your growing pains from a brand new designer when there are iterated knives that people have been working to improve for 10 years? Why would I spend more of my money for a knife that isn't better for me than what's already in my collection just to have something new and different? Why, guys? Why? There are a lot of answers to this, and some of those answers I don't think are legitimate, or at least I don't think they're good answers. And let's talk about some of those. One of the most common ones is, well, this one is mine, and I think it's really cool. I respect when makers have passion for their own work. That's great. But the thing is, that's a motive why you made the knife. That's not a motive why I should buy the knife. Or I've designed the perfect EDC tool. No, you haven't. Go back to Kickstarter with your marketing speak. There is no one perfect tool, and you've not done something to change that for everybody, chances are. If you say this one's really well made, yeah, that's compelling. And if you're truly on top of the pack, that's great for a subset of people who crave mastery. The people for whom the machining is really, really, really important. But the thing is, in the modern CNC era, damn near perfect is becoming more and more common every day. I've got a different artistic vision. Well, that's great. And, art is personal, though, and you'll have to do everything else good enough that the art can win. And frankly, the artistic vision, well, it's got to be compelling enough. It's got to be unique enough. It's got to be like, wow, that really is different. And that's really unusual when that happens. People say, well, I want to be a knife maker, and that's always rough for me because I really want to encourage young makers. I really do, and I don't want this to come across as like, no, you're screwed. But the thing is, and I've no doubt that you can succeed as a knife maker if you work to master the craft and if you learn heavily both from the industry and from the past. If you look out at all the many knives out there that are just really incredible, those default options that everybody talks about, and if you learn from those, then by God, you may be able to do that. You may be able to exceed them someday, but man, you've got an uphill battle right now because the market is brutal for brand new makers. But the most dangerous of all excuse that I hear for not asking why, or what they think is an answer is, well, because I wanted to do something new. That's really dangerous because the thing is, loyalty to a brand isn't bought with frequency of releases. Some of my very favorite brands don't make that many knives. Alambic Cutlery, for instance, has 3 models. Well, okay, they've got a couple more if you think about the custom stuff. The Grimsmo knives, they've got 2 models. The Koenig right now has got like 3 models, and one of them they're not even making anymore. I mean, it's not the case that I need to see a new knife out of you every damn week. But the problem is, I mean, if you do, that's fine, but the quality needs to be up there. Because if you're producing a new knife every week, but each knife is kind of like, okay, not really needed, not bringing a lot to the table, then I'm going to drop your brand like it's freaking hot. But if you're dropping something every few years that's just like, oh my God, yes, then I'm going to want that. At that point, I'll just give you my credit card. Yeah, whatever you drop in 3 years, just sign me up. We're done. But you need to be careful that you're not mistaking new for better or different, etc. Because, well, I don't want you dropping something flawed every week. What I really want to see, though, is that real question. Like, ask yourself unflinchingly, why are you making this before you start production? Ask yourself, and there are sub-questions there. What am I bringing to the table? What am I bringing to the knife community among every other knife purchasable out there? And not just your product line, but every knife out there that is not there before. What am I doing that is new? Maybe you've got something new and innovative, like an unusual mechanism, a different engineering approach. Maybe you're solving a problem that nobody has ever solved before. Something like the Hawk Deadlock is a nice example of that. Like every other out the front has blade play, this one doesn't. That's a solved problem. Maybe you're filling a hole in the market, or you're finding a market segment where all of the competition sucks. Like, I am going to make the only knife for 2.5-inch, legal areas that is good for hard use. And I'm not saying that's the thing that it's served already, but still. Or maybe you're just finding a group of people that haven't been served before. Maybe you're trying to, okay, people in the UK have these requirements for a great knife. I'm going to make them a great knife. It's great. That's a good strategy. Maybe you've got something that is aesthetically completely unique, something that is new and amazing that no one else has seen before, and you're just going to be like, yeah, check this out. That might be enough. Maybe you're going to demonstrate a level of mastery in your machining that nobody has ever seen before. That's really hard to do because, remember, custom knife makers are a thing. And there are a lot of people, especially in the era where CNC machines can fit in a garage and can hold incredible tolerances. There are a lot of people doing incredible work, but that's definitely a thing. Or maybe an advancement in material science has let you jump ahead of the competition. A great example of this is the Spyderco Caribbean, or the Spidey Chef for that matter. But by moving to LC200N, which is a really incredible step forward in steels, they have created in the Caribbean instantly, overnight, the best saltwater knife just ever, period. It's just better enough because of the steel. They're just like, yeah, that wins. Right there, that's a nice, maybe you're making a substantial step forward in value. Maybe you're going to excel enough all around. You're going to be good enough at value, good enough at materials, good enough at whatever, that you do land among the greats. That even though, you're not pushing the boundary in one domain way further, you're really raising the bar enough by excelling in multiple places. But the thing is, you need to explain to your buyers, to me as well, why your new knife is interesting and different among all of the bazillion knives that are already out there. This is not, and let me stop the marketers right here, this is not a marketing problem. If you're looking at this as a knife maker and thinking, yeah, I should get my marketers on that, no, you are doing it wrong. This is not a messaging issue. Marketers cannot fix this. This is a question of design, a question of production. It's not a question of explaining why it is. If you need to explain why it's being made, then you've already failed at it. This is about choosing carefully what you're bringing to market and working to push things forward, to raise the bar rather than just coming in comfortably underneath it. And so kind of there's the old saying, speak only if you can improve on the silence. Well, release only if you can improve on the market. Look, I know this is really hard. I'm asking a great deal here, and I can't do this. That's the ugly thing. It's like, as a reviewer, it's like a food critic. I can't freaking cook. I can't cook either, but I can't make a knife. I can't create something that's justified in its existence. And people always ask me, Nick, you should be a knife designer. Like, no, I shouldn't, because I can't bring anything new to the market. I'm following my own advice here, but still, I know it's hard, but the thing is, people are doing this. And those, I think, are the knives that are most exciting in the community. Because there are people like Custom Makers, or boutique CNC folks, who are really trading in mastery. Leading to knives like the Grimsmo, Norseman, the Konigiri's, the Holt Spectre, all of those other knives out there, and plenty of the custom handmade pieces that basically hit perfectly executed. Where you just look at it, it's like, yeah, right there, you nailed it. On the value front, there are companies like Ruwaiki or Rake or whatever, using the global economy, Chinese factories, to ship knives that are just bringing in this incredible value for the price, where it's just like, holy crap, did you really just sell me that for $30? Wow, that's amazing. There were companies like Kershaw. Actually, Kershaw has gotten people to take notice of their products recently by using these incredible high-end steels, in like the link in the dividend, at really low prices while still offering made in the USA. That's a really nice way to push that line a little bit forward, to raise the bar. The Hawks, G&G Hawk, are masters of doing weird things, like new mechanisms, approaches, and in fixing unsolved problems, like the thing with the mud, etc. I think that's a really nice little approach there. The Hinderer, Rick Hinderer has done the tri-way pivot recently, which swaps between bearings, washers, Teflon. When I heard that announced, it was like, oh God, of course that needs to be a thing, but it wasn't a thing, but now it's a thing. Hey, there we go. And so I'm really excited about the Hinderer XM18, which is great, and you will be seeing one on the channel. I'm like, yes, let's do this. I can't wait. Spyderco is a company that you guys know I love because they're so often doing this. So often there is a why. Whether it's because they're serving weird restrictions with knives like the UKPK Rhodey Spidey K, they're pushing the envelope with steels. Like, these are the folks who really brought LC200N in production, I think, for the first time. Or at the very least, they're pushing like Maximate, weird steels. That's great. And they're also good at offering up like different, unusual, weird designs that can offer, when coupled with solid execution, a really solid Y. Like the Peter Rizzenti Paisan. When it's done that damn well and is kind of weird and is coming in at a price like that, that's a good Y right there. Three Rivers Manufacturing, I think, is just killing it lately because they're offering these knives that are kind of raising the bar through a bunch of different things. They're ground to cut, they're thin stock, they're actually knives that cut things, but they're also lightweight, they're easy to carry, and they're priced competitively and made in the USA. All those things together add up to a really compelling Y that you don't get in a lot of places. Elijah Isham is a designer whose work is so damn unique and different that you take one look at it. It's something like the Eschaton or the Pleroma, the Black Star, those kinds of things, all of his new designs, and I'm sitting here like, as a guy who handles a lot of knives, I'm looking at that like, okay, I want one of those, like flat out. It's so different that itself provides the Y, because he's coupling it with working with good factories, by and large, for implementation. And that's great. And even like the Benchmade prop is a nice example, because they by doing that knife, by doing a modern slip joint with G10 and S30V, that's designed with a lot of the affordances of modern knives, they won a lot of hearts, and they kind of triggered, in a lot of ways, an era of modern production traditional. Heck, even Medford knives is a nice example of this, because they're getting to the point where the quality is up there enough that they're doing their own weird thing. The fact that they are so unique and different and weird and pretty much Medfordy means that they're actually going to be interesting for a subset of people. So even if I'm not a fan of it, frankly, at this point in time, I will take something that is completely out of my lane but really interesting and different over something that is like the perfect Nick Shabazz knife but which hasn't justified its own existence. But so, the fact remains that any given week, there are these bunch of new releases. There are many new announcements, new brands, new cycles of hype. I mean, the knife market is always vigorously churning, but very rarely does anybody offer me a good reason for why they just did this, why they just released that. And you know what? I don't know, from my perspective, that sucks. As a reviewer, I am tired of the churn. I really, really am. Because I'm tired of getting these knives on my table where it's like, it's fine, but you could do better with any one of 10 existing options. I'm tired of, hey, Nick, we just released the perfect new EDC knife on Kickstarter. This one has D2 steel and a lanyard hole. Like, I'm tired of taking one look at a new release's photos and spotting 3 issues that every other brand doesn't by and large have, and that should have never made it past the prototype stage. I'm tired of that. I'm deeply tired. I'm tired of the people who clearly own and love a Shabazz or a PM2 or a Delica or something and have decided to make something that's just not that Shabazz like, a PM2 like, a Delica like, enough that it'll pass muster and they can release it under their own brand. I mean, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of flipper frame blocks. I'm tired of wee mid-techs from fledgling new value brands. I'm tired of new limited editions that no one's ever going to collect because they're the same damn thing that you released last week, just wearing a new freaking pair of anodized pants. And I'm tired of people releasing something new which offers no improvement over anything else on the market in any domain, only to act mystified when they're not flying off the shelves. There are knives that still excite me, that justify their own existence, that do something interesting enough to merit their production. Those sustain me. Those are the ones where it's like, yes, I'm doing something for the universe. Yes, my time is not wasted here. Those are the ones that push the art forward, that are destined to be the knives we're talking about in 10 or 15 years, but these days it feels like they're few and freaking far between. There are stretches where it's like weeks between anybody releasing anything that seems like it might actually be better than their having not released anything at all. And those are the times when I start getting into watches. Do not get into watches, by the way. Or looking at briefcases or lights or wallets where it's just like, well, there's nothing going on over here, so let's look elsewhere. And there's something interesting. I might learn something new. The chances of finding something that's better than what I already have and offering my viewers an actual huge improvement over their status quo, that's possible. Whereas sometimes it's just like, well, yeah, I could get any of the 10 new releases this week, but they're all gonna be okay, maybe. And I've always got my eyes on the knife game. That's for real. But and I'm grabbing everything that I can, and that looks like it might have a compelling why. But I gotta say, as a gear whore, these droughts of just like vanilla freaking knives are killing me. And so makers, I beg of you, ask yourself why. Why does the knife market need this new design? Why is this knife interesting? Why is this better than all of the existing options from other brands on the market. Why is this going to pull these other knives out of my pocket? Why should I carry this over the billion amazing knives that are already out there? And if you can't answer those questions, then ask yourself, why are you releasing this rather than releasing something, keeping working and releasing something where you can answer those questions? I don't know. Maybe I'm just a jaded jackass. Maybe I'm completely unrealistic here, but it's just I've been feeling this. It's been on my mind, and it feels good, I guess, to get it out there. So makers, I respect what you're doing. I know that it's hard, but please ask why. And the good makers will continue to ask why, and that's why they're going to continue being the good makers. So there you go. Hope this has been interesting to you, and have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of the day. And I hope you found a reason why you'd want to watch this video. Bye now.